I have realized that faithfulness is becoming so rare in our world today. It is so hard to find faithful people in this generation. And yet, God is a faithful God. God will always do what He has said and will fulfill what He has promised. God can never say something and He doesn't fulfill it. He will always fulfill what He has said. He will always do what He has said. He will always fulfill His promise. Because God is a true God, His truthfulness is expressed in His faithfulness. When someone is truthful, they are also faithful. When someone is a liar, actually, it is actually demonstrated in their unfaithfulness. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 3 to 4, it says, "Let love and faithfulness not depart from you. Bind them around your neck and write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will find favor and a good name before man and before God." The majority of people today have lost their jobs because of unfaithfulness. People have lost marriage because of unfaithfulness. People have lost friends because of unfaithfulness. People have also lost God because of unfaithfulness. Faithfulness is key. As a believer, we need to practice faithfulness. We need to be true to ourselves because our God is a true God and is a faithful God. You cannot separate God's faithfulness from His truthfulness. They go hand in hand. But how many of us believers walk in truthfulness and in faithfulness? How many of us compromise, A lot of times you're given a responsibility as a Christian, but you don't do what you are required to do. You do shaggy work and you expect that the next time someone is going to invite you again. There you've lost your job, You are working, you're at the place of work. And you're not faithful. You're not faithful with time. You come late at the place of work. And you expect that you are going to find favor before your bosses, So these are things that we fail to, take seriously. As believers, we have to be examples of faithfulness because our God is faithful and God expects us to be faithful because He's a faithful God. When you are given a responsibility, when you have a job, you need to be faithful in whatever rules and regulations that you're given at your place of work. If they say come early, come early. But most of us as believers, we don't want to keep time at the place of work. And especially when you are employed by a Christian, you don't even want to do the right thing. Sometimes we have hosted in our premises believers, and some people even don't pay their debts. They stay in the place, but when time comes to pay, they don't want to pay. And yet they want good services, but when it comes to payment, they don't want to pay. This is not right. This is unbiblical and it is unchristian. The Bible says that if you are not faithful with the unrighteous mammon, how will you be entrusted with the things of God? If you are not faithful, with another man's property, who will entrust you, will give you your own property? And so these are things that we need to consider as believers. We need to practice faithfulness, because without faithfulness, you are going to lose trust. God is not going you're not going to find favor before God. You're going to carry a bad name. People will not trust you. God will not also trust you. And you will also miss the blessings of God, because it says if you're not faithful with another man's property, who is going to end to give you your own property. That is Luke chapter 16, verse 11 and 12. You can read it for yourself. And so, brethren, let's practice to be faithful. Because if we are not faithful, we are going to miss the blessing of God. God does not go against his character, because he's a faithful God. He's always faithful. The Bible says that if you're faithless, he will remain faithful. And so let's be faithful so that God will also be faithful on our side. Let's not be faithless, but let's be faithful in whatever that we are given. Some people are given money that are meant for orphans, but you don't give the money for the right cause. You use the money, you take your children in good schools, and the orphans that the money came for are studying in very bad schools, are suffering. You feed them badly, but in your own home you are eating well. You're driving posh cars, but the money you're using for driving those posh cars, they are meant for the orphans. They are meant for the widows. Time is going to come when God will demand accountability from us. And so, friends, we need to practice faithfulness. If we want to be blessed, let's be faithful. You know, there's nothing that is hidden that will not come to light. You may be unfaithful and you think you will go out, get away with it. But the Lord our God is faithful, and he is a God of justice. One day, justice will prevail. And one thing we need to know is that when you are unfaithful, when you practice unfaithfulness, you are bringing a curse upon your own self and upon your family. You are destroying your own children. And so these are things that we need to learn, that unfaithfulness is not of God. It is the devil who is unfaithful. But God, our God, is a faithful God. That is his character. And that is the character that he has placed in each one of us. God desires that all his children be faithful, because if you are not faithful, then you don't belong to God. Actually, no human being wants to even associate with people who are unfaithful. And so if you want to find favor anywhere, in whatever you do, be faithful. And then you will enjoy the favor of God. You will enjoy the blessing of God, and the promises of God will come to pass in your life. May God bless you.